Smoothies, much like the drink, are super cool and slightly tastier than their fruit and end-over counterparts. Today, I'm going to be going over smoothies in the backside direction, rotating clockwise for regular skaters and counterclockwise for goofy skaters. Smoothies are basically spiced up endovers, so if you don't know how to endover, I would recommend mastering those first. Having some good endover control and even monster walks will go a long way in giving you enough board control to approach smoothies less painfully. I highly recommend watching the endover tutorial before this one, as the same concepts apply here. But to be more specific, a smoothie is an endover where you lift your back foot off the board as you rotate off the front truck during the first 180-degree rotation, and then bring your back foot down to finish the rotation off the same foot. And I promise it sounds a lot more complicated than it is, so let's get into it and start with foot positioning. You can set up for a smoothie with both your feet on the bolts. I just turn my front foot's toes in so that they are diagonally pointed towards the back bolts. You can see how just the corner nose and toe side bolt is showing for me. Now this foot placement has been crucial for me to get this trick, but keep in mind that my feet are small. You might have larger feet that completely cover these bolts, and that's perfectly okay. Finding the foot position that gives you a good rotation might look a lot different. I've seen skaters turn their front foot completely in until it's perpendicular to their back foot. Now this foot positioning is so important because it's going to help you find a nice balance between rotation and friction. You can press into your heel in the pocket to lift the back trucks and allow them to rotate quicker, or you can stay more heavily on your toes to add a little friction or keep the trucks lower to the ground. It will depend on how slippery the spot you skate is and your style, but I found that this angle helps me get an easier rotation and sets up my heel and toes for more precise control. How much you cover the bolts will depend a lot on your foot size and even just the try, because there will probably be variation in your foot placement every time you try this trick. Experimenting with foot placement for this trick in particular is incredibly important because you really want to find that nice balance. Luckily, the back foot can be wherever. It can be in the pocket if you're doing other tricks like endovers or monster walks first, or it can be right over the bolts, since it'll just be lifting up and off the board anyway. Now the smoothie works by winding up like an endover and releasing that tension while stepping off the trucks with your back foot, rotating backside off of your front foot in order to deliver the deck to your back foot again, and then finishing the second rotation with that back foot. So let's get into the secret, and that is, do not just lift your foot straight up. When I was trying to learn this trick, I was just going off of what I could see in other skaters' lines. And I didn't realize what was actually happening. The thing is, you don't lift your foot straight up into the air. It's a lot more like you're stepping backwards. Your foot steps back, and then the front foot delivers the board to where it's going to step down. And I have months of footage of me doing this wrong, until after enough tries and footage piled up that I could start to see what was actually happening when I was getting it and when I wasn't. It is scary to step off the board like this, but in my experience, it does make for a much better, smoother smoothie. The two biggest problems that I ran into with this trick were accidentally lifting my foot up instead of stepping back, and then putting too much pressure on either the tail or the nose. You can see in these clips that I often get a little chop on either the first or second rotation, and that really just comes with rotating tricks in general. It takes a lot of time to build up the muscle and control that you need to keep the trucks low to the ground. I also struggled a bit with under-rotating them, which was often connected to not stepping back correctly and not being able to keep my balance due to rotating too slowly or straightening my legs out too much. So if you're struggling and you don't think it's just because you need to practice more, Film some clips and look for things like extra straight legs or lifting the foot up instead of stepping back, and just try to make adjustments based on those. There are 3 ways I would recommend working on this trick, and the first one is carpet boarding. If you have an extra deck of any kind or want to take this extra slowly, throw a deck down on the carpet. You can slowly go through the motions without the risk of slipping out while your body gets familiar with the motion. And then I would recommend going through the rotational movement. Step back off the board and use your front foot to rotate it around you. Get a feel for both stepping back and rotating your toes in, and just get a feel for that balance. Now, you don't have to jump right in if you don't think you're ready for it. You can try doing them with an extra small rotation instead of the full 180 degrees, but if you're ready to tackle them, I would just go for it. Do an end over to get those muscles firing, and then turn your front foot in and try a smoothie. It's a largely similar motion, except the first half starts with the step back. So work on these together. They're similar enough that the motion and energy will help feed the smoothies while you work on them. You can also do smoothies frontside like my friend Maria. She learned smoothies frontside, which has helped her unlock other cool tricks like the freestyle flamingo, whereas I learned smoothies backside, which unlocked my smoothies backside. Frontside smoothies rotate in the opposite direction and use more of your toes to get that pivot as opposed to your heel. But as we all get better, smoothies in either direction will help us unlock other tricks and lines with the skill and control that we gain from them. So grab your board, go out and have fun, and I hope to see you next time.